Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It is a Thursday edition, a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the state of Florida and right there in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Go check them out. That is the International Diamond Center. Today's show, we'll have Brent Beaird, a college football analyst and Heisman Trophy voter, and we'll have Mike Morgan get his thoughts. He's been calling a bunch of basketball games. If you missed it last night, it was just a pure blowout. I went to bed at half. I have a feeling South Carolina will have a new basketball coach next year. Gators just destroy the Gamecocks. Let's go straight to the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tim. We're joined by our college football analyst and Heisman Trophy voter, Brent Beaird. Good morning, Brent. How you doing?
Shane, good morning. Hope you guys are warm over there. We've got another cold snap coming this weekend. So January has been a cold month, to say the least.
That is very true. Brent, I guess let's go ahead and kick it off. College football never sleeps.
No.
We're supposed to get expansion in the playoffs, but that's not going to happen.
Well, it's not going to happen this year.
Right.
They decided to stay at a 12-team playoff. Frankly, this was doable if the Big Ten had agreed to it. Most of the conferences wanted to go from 12 teams involved to 16 and let it go at that. The Big Ten wanted to go to 24. That will be quite a leap to go from 12 to 24, but 16 I think would have been manageable. Still think that's going to happen. You've still got pretty much the same structure with the top four conference champions receiving buys and the other top-ranked teams competing for a spot. Notre Dame is guaranteed a spot if they are in the top 12. The opening round will again be held on campus, and the next few rounds will be at the traditional bowl site. So a little bit of change, Shane, but not too much.
Yeah. We do know, though, early in the season, well, not early in the season, but there is 1 week in college football next year that should be quite a day.
Yeah, it really should. That's November the 7th. You've got Oregon at Ohio State, Miami at Notre Dame, Alabama at LSU, Georgia at Ole Miss, and BYU at Utah. Shane, frankly, some of those games could virtually be championship games, but that will be very interesting to see how that goes, and that those are all November games.
Yeah. Brent, you may have mentioned it, but I was reading a couple of texts here that I need to get to in a second. But this whole Notre Dame is guaranteed a spot if they're in the top 12. I don't know why that bothers me, but it does.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Yeah, and again, what Shane's talking about is in the coming up for this season, Notre Dame's guaranteed a spot if they finish within the top 12 of the final rankings. So, and again, this past season, Notre Dame missed. They sat out the bowl game. Miami got in, and obviously we know what they did going to the championship game. But yes, there is often special accommodations for Notre Dame.
There's no question. Barone on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plumbing and wants to know, Brent, were you a Heisman voter back in 2001 when Grossman got robbed?
No, I wasn't. It was, but I've been a Heisman voter now for, gosh, it's been probably about, I would say, 15 years, something like that. But no, unfortunately not back then.
Yeah. From the Power Four teams with the most players added to their team, my goodness, Oklahoma State, their
Really,
entire team is pretty much from.
yeah. Yeah, they really are, and this was just from like last Saturday, so it's possibly very much changed even more. 54 players that are new at Oklahoma State, 42 at Colorado, Arkansas has 40, LSU 41. Now, who is not in here that probably should be is Ole Miss. They've had quite a lot of turnover too. Kentucky had 29, by the way. So, Shane, it's a different world, is it not? And again, we've only got the one transfer cycle. We will not have the one that we had last year. That was basically in the middle and right after spring practice. So that's going to be it, which frankly will help a lot of teams, whether people realize this or not, on these teams. It will help them solidify their roster a lot earlier this year.
Joseph's question on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel. Doesn't every team ranked inside the top 12 of the CFP rankings get in? Yes, but wasn't Notre Dame in there this year and didn't get in?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
They did not. And the other thing you've got, what we've got to deal with is you've got a couple of like James Madison and Tulane that get in. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen immediately, but what what might happen in the next, or certainly before the end of the decade, is that the non-power four may come up with if it's offered to them with their own playoff. And that could be 4 teams, that could be 8 teams, that could be 12 teams. But Shane, the reality of it is, if you're Tulane and James Madison, and you get to play teams in basically your own division, and you get to play for a championship, wouldn't that be enticing to do so?
Yeah. Yeah. This text from Daryl on the Titanamar text line says, "Good morning. I was in the Gator Sports Shop last Saturday. They had DJ Lagway jerseys half off. Does he still get the profits off his jersey sales even though he's not at Florida?" It's a great question, Daryl.
It is.
Don't know the answer to that. Honestly, I don't know how much money these guys are even getting from their jersey sales, which is what it's supposed to be, but I don't
Yeah.
even think they even care about that.
Yeah. Shane, we've gone way above and beyond just jersey sales, haven't we?
Yeah, it's just basically how much do I need for you to be on my team, and
Yeah.
here's the check.
Yeah. Yes. Unfortunately, there's a lot of truth to that. Yes.
This text on the Titanamar text line says, Shane asked Brant if he has heard any of the chatter about Kirby going to the Falcons as a DC. There's no, why would Kirby go to there be the defensive coordinator?
I agree. Yeah, that's just rumor stuff. I don't think there's anything to that. I mean, you hear, and look, in defense of the coaches, you probably hear them say in a relaxed, odd moment this time of year, well, wouldn't it be great just to be a coordinator instead of the head coach? But look, that they as much as Kirby gets from Georgia, he's not going to give up that money. So no, that's just a rumor, and that's all that is.
Yeah, well, if he's going to go to the Falcons, he's going to be the head coach.
Yeah, no doubt.
He ain't going to be no damn defense coordinator for Kevin
No.
The Pouncey twins, Mike and Marquise, invite you to try the mango martinis at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, handcrafted with their J.F. Hayden liqueurs. Try those flavors or find your favorite at shopjfhaydens.com. All right, real quick. Somebody sent a question here asking about Tommy on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Is Coach Spurrier doing okay? Yeah, he's fine. Don't read any of that nonsense you see on social media. These certain sites put like people are dying or been diagnosed with this, that, or the other. And when you click on it, I think they get paid. So it's just a bunch of garbage.
It is. And some of that may even be AI generated type stuff. So yes, there anything you hear like that. I mean, every day there's a different sports celebrity, shall we say, that's involved with that, and it's not true.
And Barone says, don't buy any player's jersey till they are done with college eligibility. Probably good idea. All right,
Good
Brent, let's
idea.
go around the Southeastern Conference. What's going on in Alabama?
Yeah. This past Monday was the 43rd anniversary, if you can believe that, Shane, of Coach Paul Bear Bryant's death. So that was, as you can imagine, in the state of Alabama, that was mentioned a good bit. Alabama had a practice official, Eddie Conyers. He died at 97, but he was if you can believe this, Shane, he was a practice official basically into his 90s.
Wow.
Which is amazing. Had a great sense of humor. Was very popular, but he passed away this week at 97. Alabama's also had a linebacker, defensive lineman, John Marion Latham is coming back. Shane, for a 7th season, by the way. He signed with the 2020 class. Had some injuries, so he is coming back at this point. And Alabama looks to be hiring USC analyst Adrian Clem as their new offensive line coach. So they really struggled last year with their offensive line and the rush for 104 yards per game. That was 125th in the nation. So they thought they needed to make a change.
Yeah, they've made quite a bit of changes for their, as you mentioned, in their coaching staff. The Auburn Tigers have signed a former Florida Gator.
Yeah, Arias Boardingham, the tight end, who also was with Bowling Green. He missed the 2025 season with an injury. You're wondering why you hadn't heard from him. But he obviously was a contributor to Florida in 23 and 24. So be interesting to see what he does. Auburn had a lot in the portal that they did. 37 players. It's a lot in it, Shane. Transferred out following last season and the coaching change. They did get Byron Brown, and they did get several players from USF who came in. Byron Brown, Shane, as you know, is a very good quarterback. So offensive line is going to be rebuilt. So a lot of new players at Auburn.
Yeah, for sure. Zach on YouTube brought it by Quality Plum says, Shane, did you see the judge who was over the Bediaco case is a known donor to Alabama? Seems like a major problem. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday with Rob Brown, who went to Auburn but covers the entire SEC. He knows the judge, and it is what it is.
Yeah, and he did recuse himself from that case, and I believe it's supposed to be dealt with again coming up on February the 12th or something like that. So, but Bediaco will be playing against Florida on Sunday.
Yes, he will. All right, the Gators. What's going on with the Mighty Gators?
Well, I'm sure probably a lot of people have heard by now, but Florida State moved to Thanksgiving or Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. So that is going on. The spring game now is announced. I know a lot of people have already heard this. Saturday, April the 11th at noon. So that'll be good to have the game back on a Saturday. The schedule is out, obviously, for the Gators, Florida Atlantic, Campbell, Auburn, and Ole Miss coming up in September. They did sign an Indiana transfer. And Shane, I go back and forth on mispronouncing his name, Ace Coingoli. We'll go with that, I guess. 4 years of eligibility remaining. He did not play last season.
All right, what's going on with the Dogs?
Todd Monken, people may know or not, but is going to get his chance in the NFL. He's going to be, according to a lot of reports yesterday, the Cleveland Browns are hiring him. 59 years old. He was the Browns coordinator offensively in 2019. He has been with the Ravens, obviously involved with the Georgia too. a lot of postseason stats coming out. Gunnar Stockton, the quarterback, was at his best in the fourth quarter. Gosh, this is amazing. 83% completion percentage in the fourth quarter. That's pretty good in it, Shane, to say the least. Threw 7 fourth quarter touchdowns, through 8 in the second quarter also. And I think the main thing for Georgia is their running game improved considerably. In 2024, they averaged 124 yards rushing. This past season, they averaged 182. So it doesn't matter how good the passing game gets. Sometimes teams still have to run the ball, don't they, Shane?
Very, very true. The LSU Tigers, Lane doing what Lane does, causing problems and signing a lot of the top players at each position.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, they've got one of the best classes. I mean, you've got the Ole Miss and LSU play early on in the season, and that will be quite the storylines in that game will be endless. Whoever covers that game, they'll have it all week long. So that is what it amounts to. So a lot of players swapping back and forth. Princewell U, DJ Daugherty, Devin Harper, Winston Watkins are all now in LSU. Ole Miss still has got Keywan Lacey. They still got to get the Trinidad Chambliss quarterback situation straightened out. He is currently fighting the NCAA in court in Mississippi to get another year of eligibility. I think he probably will get that back. So that's one thing to think about. But again, LSU transfer portal class, Sam Levitt, number 1 quarterback, Jordan Seaton, the number 1 tackle, and Princewell U, as we mentioned, the number 1 ad. So needless to say, Shane, Ole Miss had quite a transfer portal.
Yeah, Ole Miss and LSU kind of swapped some players here or there.
Yep.
Mike on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, says, if I ordered tickets for one away game this year, what would I suggest? Well, there's really only 2. If you've never been to a game in Austin, Texas, on Texas campus, I would suggest that. If not, go to Auburn. We haven't been to Auburn. I've only been to Auburn once in my lifetime. I can't wait to go back.
Yeah, they haven't played at Auburn in quite some time. Now, they play Missouri and Columbia.
Nobody wants to go to that, Brent.
Yeah. Well, the reason I bring it up, Shane, and people can appreciate this right now, if you want to go see them play Missouri, October the 3rd is a whole lot better, Shane, than November 17th or something like that.
Yeah, well, that is true. But I've been to Missouri several times now calling the games. They're getting better. They keep adding on to their stadium.
Yeah,
it's a cool little place, but it's not a normal Southeastern Conference school. It's still very weird to me. If I was going to buy a ticket, I would either go to Texas or Auburn. Probably Auburn, because you can drive there. It'd be much easier to get to. What's going on with the Tennessee Vols?
Tennessee has had a lot of new players come in. They have, and they're emphasizing defense, as you can imagine. They're bringing over several Penn State players, along with defense coordinator Jim Knowles. So that is interesting. Linebacker Amari Campbell, who started at North Carolina, was at Penn State. He's one of those. Chaz Coleman, who's a 5-star transfer. So if you're looking for where is Tennessee going to improve this year, it will be a lot of that on defense, with Jim Knowles as the heralded new defensive coordinator in Knoxville.
Yeah. Annie on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. Oh, crap, it went away. I'll pull it back up. He was basically referring to saying Ole Miss might get the death penalty after the nonsense that's been going on with Clemson and Dabo. They're not going to do anything to them, in my opinion. There are no rules.
Yeah, well, and listen, no one will ever get the death penalty again. They learn after giving the death penalty to SMU and some other schools. They'll punish them, but they won't take them off TV. The television is too important, and they probably will never admit this, but they're not going to mess with that. So, I mean, I get the sentiment that that fans aren't happy with it, but Shane, I don't think anyone will ever be taken off television again.
No, not at all. Texas Longhorns, I think they're going to be highly ranked in all the preseason polls because of Arch Manning. I don't know who they have coming back, but what can you tell us about the Longhorns?
Yeah, there were some surgeries just worth mentioning. Arch had some minor foot surgery and will be limited during the off season. I don't know if you've ever had foot surgery before, but for a quarterback, that's going to be a big deal. Arch had a really good year, 61% completions, 26 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So he will be fine, should be back, maybe limited for spring. I won't go into all these, but they had several other surgeries. Their left tackle, Trevor Gooseby, had shoulder surgery. Ryan Wingo, one of their wideouts, had wrist surgery. So, but, you know, Shane, as you know, this is time of year to clear stuff like that up, right?
Very true. Josh and Wamama has a text for you here, Brent. I don't know if you follow this or not, but it's the Titan and text line wants to know, Brent, which Florida players are shining at the Senior Bowl practices?
You know, I'll try to look into that. I've been so busy with college basketball and football. I mean, I've kept an eye on it for sure. But you know, and Shane can tell us more about this. But you know, I talked to somebody about this from time to time. But they made a really good point that the practices during the week are a whole lot more important than even the game.
Very true.
Because you just learn so much from that. Is that a reasonable response to that, Shane?
Yeah, because, you know, in the game, does it really matter? It's more, you know, they're doing situational stuff in practice that they can kind of evaluate the players. But out of all the all-star games, it's the most important one.
Yes.
Sure. Brent, we got another text here on the Titan MR text line from George. He wants to know, Brent, I know you're an Alabama guy. Do you have any thoughts on the Bediako deal?
Well, what they're doing is what they're allowed to do. I mean, now the big thing here is Bediako did not play in the NBA, but he played in the G League. So they've allowed him to come back, and they've allowed a few other players, not many, to come back too. And I mean, Bediako is one of the biggest players Alabama's got, so that's made a difference. You can see him Sunday at 1 when they played the Gators in Gainesville. I mean, he has helped them. He didn't help them against Tennessee. Tennessee beat them, but he did help them the other night when they played and blew out Missouri. Look, the reality of this is, and I'll be brief about this, they've got to get this straightened out. I mean, when you allow a player to come in, basically around the 1st of February, I mean, really, how fair is that? But Alabama's like a lot of teams, they're taking advantage of what they can take advantage of, and that's to bring in a player. But this is something, Shane, that they've got to make some sense of during the off season and get this fixed.
Yeah, there's a lot of rules they need to get fixed. Brent, give us a little ACC report before we get you out.
Yeah, I certainly will. Some things about the ACC of note. The ACC has 4 week 0 games on August 29th. The calendar, the way it is this year, is most teams are playing a week later because the week 0 is basically the last Saturday in August. 4 ACC games on week 0. North Carolina versus TCU in Dublin. Virginia versus NC State in Rio de Janeiro. How about that, Shane?
Wow.
Hawaii at Stanford and New Mexico State at Florida State. So, and by the way, Southern Cal is going to be playing on week 0, but they don't have an opponent yet. How about that? Yeah, I don't know, but I guess they're still working that out. That may mean it's going to be a pretty easy opponent, frankly, or a non-division opponent. The schedules are out. The ACC had their schedule reveal on Monday. One of the big games early, Clemson is at LSU to start the season on September the 5th. So keep that in mind. Also, and Florida State schedule. Shane, here's the reality to this. As you know, the SEC basically always plays on Saturday. Well, the Florida State has a Monday game on September the 7th against SMU. They have a Friday game against Louisville. They have a Friday game against Pitt, and they have a Friday game against Florida. So it really is amazing, and I know a lot of this is just to publicize the conference, but how many Friday games they play. Now Miami had their schedule come out this week. They open the season on Friday, September the 4th at Stanford. The following week, Shane, they play on a Thursday at Florida A&M. The following week, on September the 18th, they play on a Friday against Wake Forest. Their first Saturday game is September the 26th.
Wow.
Shane, and then they play a Friday game on November the 20th. So football is no longer just on Saturday, is it?
No, not at all. Real quick, couple of texts on the Titan of our text line. One from Bob in Nashville says, Shane, I heard you talking yesterday about how bad the weather had been in Oxford. I saw where they canceled classes and all events until after February the 6th. Does that include basketball? I don't know the answer to that, but Oxford and Ole Miss is a mess with the ice storm. I just probably they're not going to play any home games. Maybe they flip those games and go to the other team site. I don't really know. But did you hear about that, Brent?
I didn't hear a whole lot about it, but yeah, Oxford really is a mess, and they're snowed in. So I think you're right. They're playing, but I think they're trying to play at a different site.
Yeah, because they still don't have power, and the town is still covered in ice. I mean, they're probably going to lose all the trees in the Grove. I know that's the last thing on people's minds, but their trees are just coming down everywhere. It's terrible, and it's not going to get any better for like another week because of the temperatures. So, and then our last one here from Sheila, who listens to the program outside of Boston. Appreciate you. We don't have many people who listen to our podcast up in the Boston area. She goes, Brent, I would love your thoughts on Bill Belichick not being in the Hall of Fame.
Well, what happened there is for various reasons. And look, let's be logical here. He'll get in the Hall of Fame. What happened with a lot of this is he ticked a lot of people off, and they basically kept him out in the first vote. Look, we all know that Bill Belichick, regardless of what you think about him, is a Hall of Fame coach, and he deserves to be in, and he will be in, and probably on the next time the vote comes up, that will happen. But unfortunately, the NFL has a lot of these guys have long memories who vote with this and deal with this. I mean, he'll be fine, and he'll eventually get in. It was a bit of a surprise, but some of this has just come from the feuds that he's had with different people.
Yeah. Brent, good stuff as always, my friend. Appreciate your time. We'll talk to you next week.
Always, Shane. Take care, bud. Have a great week.
Relive the Gator Basketball National Championships teams every thrilling moment with Franz Beer's new book, The Golden Season, the unforgettable story behind Florida's historic 2025 title run. It's available now at spurs.com. Click the shop tab and get it shipped the same day. We're going to take a quick time out, come back. We'll be joined by Mike Morgan. We'll talk college sports, a little bit of NFL. Whatever you got for Mike, shoot it our way. You're watching and listening to PodUp and Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Atlantic Roofing, Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, J.F. Hayden's Craft Liqueurs, Los Linderos Tequila, Meldon Law, Titan MRI and Imaging, Castaway Sauce, UF Health Orthopedics. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sports, Comfort Temp, Florida Cracker Oyster, Electronics World, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, McDonald's of Gainesville, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Advocare, MG&A Wealth. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And to advertise, call my man Freddie, 352-284-3733.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, plus you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Naysayers. Setbacks. Injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
On April 7th, 2025, Gator Nation reached the mountaintop as Florida won the national championship in basketball. Now, relive every thrilling moment with Brent Beaird's new book, The Golden Season, the unforgettable story behind Florida's historic 2025 title run. Feel the passion, the drama, and the glory all over again. Available now at Spurriers.com. Click the shop tab. That's Spurriers.com.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Ruse Ogre State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. Back to the Titan Number Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp, our man Mike Morgan, who is just chalking up frequent flyer miles. What's up, my man?
That's what it's all about, Shane. It's all about frequent flyer miles and hotel points. But yeah, I think since the last time, and national rental car. Since the last time I spoke to you, I've called 5 college basketball games, 4 SEC, 1 ACC, and a college football all-star game. And well, they practiced in Orlando, but because the stadium's under construction, they played the game in Lakeland. But it's called the American Bowl. It was the first one. It's myself and Brian Baldinger. It was on NFL Network. They're doing all the all-star games in like a week and a half period. So we led things off, and then there's, of course, the Senior Bowl's coming up and the Shrine Bowl's coming up. The Senior Bowl is kind of the king of that. They've got the quote-unquote best of the best prospects. So we didn't have a ton of first-rounders, but we had a bunch of guys, a bunch of SEC guys, a bunch of small school guys, many of which will be like late-round picks that will make the league. The best player I saw might have been Jack Strand, who was a Division II quarterback who played for the Moorhead Dragons, which is a Division II school. And of course, I just forgot where it is. I swear I knew when when we were on TV talking about him. But he's a 6'5", 240 kid from Bloomer, Wisconsin, who for whatever reason wasn't like a huge recruit, but the scouts love him. So I love those kind of stories. I do. We had another guy from the MAC, and of course, Ben Roethlisberger was a quarterback from the MAC. Julian Edelman was a quarterback at Kent State before he converted to a wide receiver in New England. Those kind of stories. If you love football, which I know you do and I do, I love those kinds of stories. So that was a lot of fun to do as well, in addition to all the basketball going on.
Let's talk basketball. Gators last night just destroyed South Carolina. I went to bed at half. It was so damn boring. Um, didn't they didn't play great against Auburn. A lot of people kind of overreacted. I get it. They want to win every game, but sometimes you got to get punched in the face. And Auburn's one of those kind of teams that can make the game ugly and punch you in the face. Just give me your thoughts on where
Yeah.
Florida sits right now. Big game Sunday against Alabama and Bediako, the G League player.
Yeah, that game's on ABC, right?
I'm not sure. I just know it's a Sunday deal.
I think that's why, because the men never play on Sunday anymore, and I believe that's the only SEC game on ABC. And I know that's a big deal to the SEC. That might not sound like much, but since CBS is no longer a TV partner, all these conferences they want to be on the biggest network possible. And for the SEC to get a showcase game on ABC, that's a big deal. And obviously, it's a nice deal for Florida. You're absolutely right on the Auburn game. I just had Auburn last night, and they won a thriller against Texas. But Auburn can beat anybody anywhere. They have just enough athletes. They have what everybody wants, which is a prolific scorer in Keyshawn Hall. And of course, Keyshawn went off in the O'Connell Center, the O-Dome, Exactech Arena, whatever you want to call it. And so they pulled off the upset. It's not the end of the world. Stuff is like that is going to happen when you play good teams, even at home. And let's not forget, Florida lost a home game against Missouri last year. They still won the national title. So I wouldn't get too bent out of shape about that. And then, of course, last night they beat a South Carolina team that just doesn't have – it's abundantly clear. I don't care who's coaching that team. That's a roster that can't compete against the better teams in this league. I saw it firsthand against Arkansas. So that game turned out to be a laugher. I don't really know what you take away from that, but I do think you'll take away some stuff, certainly from the game on Sunday and taking on, regardless of Bediako, which I've become a major storyline. Alabama's a really good team without him, quite frankly. So that promises to be a really good matchup. And I think the bigger storyline for your listeners is that Florida has found itself better. And I get it. Like, there are going to be nights where that backcourt does not shoot well, and they'll be in danger of losing those games. But it's still an uber talented team with one of the best front courts in the country, well coached, and still has a chance to go very far come March. So there's still a lot to be excited about with this basketball team.
Text here on the Titan Mark text line from William. He says, Mike, give me your thoughts on A&M and what they've done this year in the conference.
I think what Bucky McMillan has done at A&M, similar to Coach Byington last year at Vanderbilt, is one of the best coaching jobs in the country, not just the SEC. Keep in mind, when Buzz Williams left in the middle of the night for Maryland's awful, by the way, he took everybody. I mean, Bucky McMillan got the job late, had to pick up the phone and just start calling people to get players and round up a roster. And on paper, they don't look that good. But you watch them play, and what they do is they press for 40 minutes, they shoot a bunch of threes, and they win. So I think he's one of the most young, exciting basketball coaches out there. And when he gets his players in, look out. A&M might actually be a force.
Yeah, I love the way their style of play. His story, if people don't know it, Google it. He was a high school coach, probably like 7 years ago, something like that. Did a great job at Sanford.
Never was an assistant coach. When he got that Sanford job, Shane, he went straight from high school, which never happens.
Good point.
To go straight from high school to a Division I head coaching job. And the AD there took a shot on him. He's a local guy. Mountain Brook High School is right by the campus of Sanford. And then, of course, he did great things there. A&M rolled the dice, and I think it's a brilliant hire.
Kind of switching gears a little bit. Gary's text for you on the Titan and Mark text line. We kind of touched it with Brent, but he wants your thoughts on the snub that Bill Belichick got from the Hall of Fame committee.
Laughable, petty, moronic, and it basically sends a message of lack of credibility. When you have, and well, as I understand it, you know, I vote on the Heisman, right? I think there's like 900 of us. I vote on the Naismith Award for the best college basketball player every year. There's a few hundred of us that have a ballot for that. I think the NFL Hall of Fame is a really small, tight-knit group of guys that they determine all the fates of these players. And when you have such a small sample size and a couple of guys are trying to make some type of message, that's what can happen. It's ridiculous. And he'll get in next year. At least I think he will. But clearly some people wanted to send a message, whether it was Spygate or whether they just didn't like the fact that he was a pain in the ass with the media. But that's ridiculous. He's got the greatest resume of anybody who's coached in the NFL. To not put him in on the first ballot just looks flat out stupid.
Will they publicize the guys that did not vote for him, or will they not do that?
No. Great question. And this is the problem I have. I always tell people, like, I think our Heisman votes should be public because I know there are people that have agendas there and they've tried to screw people over with their Heisman ballots. If you want to vote and you want to take it seriously, it should be made public. And the people that did this, Shane, they're not coming out publicly and admitting it because they know they'd be crucified. So on top of everything else, not only is it moronic and stupid, it's also cowardly because nobody knows who voted against them.
Yeah. MSRK on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, wants to know what's up with Kentucky. 1 week a win, next week getting blown out. There's a lot. It's a mess there, isn't it?
It's not good, Shane. I watched some of that game at Vanderbilt, and granted, Vanderbilt's good. I've got them in a week or two, and I'm looking forward to it. But they were without one of their best players, the Miles kid, and they still just took Kentucky to the woodshed. Kentucky's got a $22 million NIL payroll. That's the most in the sport. There's just no excuse for that. And Kentucky's fan base, it's beyond irate. I don't know what happens with Mark Pope. I just know that what's going on right now is worse than anything that went on under Cal. You got to go back to Billy Gillespie. You got to go back to the Gillette, which didn't last long. And of course, he had problems with alcohol. Mark Pope is a lovable guy and a great guy and a Kentucky guy. But Kentucky fans will not tolerate. If you watch the inbounds play from the baseline where the guy throws it into a teammate and he just walks out of bounds and then he throws it into a teammate.
I was getting ready.
You know what it reminds me of?
I haven't seen that since I was coaching third grade basketball at the local YMCA.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I had to call that once when I was refereeing an intramural game. I mean, like, you just don't see that. It almost reminded me of the Muschamp era in Gainesville when you had one player blocking a teammate. Remember that? Like that kind of sealed Will Muschamp. Say no. I mean, they're just making bad plays. The body language is not good. There's something there that's not right. Now they're still going to win games because they're uber talented, but I don't know how far that team goes, and if it's an early exit in March, it's going to get very toxic very quickly, if it hasn't already.
Atlantic Roofing, your roofing experts for residential commercial roofing with more than 50 years of local experience. A few more minutes with Mike Morgan. Let's switch gears to the NFL. A lot of coaches have been hired now. Out of the new coaches that are going to their new teams, who do you like? What situation do you like best, Mike?
Let's all remember there's a lot of teams that could have and should have hired Mike Vrabel. So the whole notion, like, well, you don't believe in hiring a retread. Well, sometimes retreads are actually the best hire. You know, I'm in Atlanta where Stefanski got the move, and that's kind of a mixed bag. But Stefanski was really good early on. It's not his fault that your owner made one of the stupidest moves and contracts in the history of sports with Deshaun Watson, and then follows it up and drafts a quarterback that you don't want in Shedeur Sanders, but the front office, the owner said, we want him. So he gets out. I'm happy for him to get the hell out of Cleveland. I actually think he can do some good things in Atlanta. You couldn't do much worse than Raheem Morris. I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Well, I really
a lot
like
of these hires.
I like Harbaugh to the Giants. I just think his demeanor, and with Jackson Dart at quarterback, I think, I don't know who they hired as their offensive coordinator. I can't remember, but I think the Giants, in my opinion, might be the best situation.
Yeah, I would go with that. You know, it's the problem with that is there's just some jobs that seem destined to be just awful. Like, who wants to coach the Giants, the Jets, the Browns? It just seems like no matter what you do, it's not going to be right. But I would go with you. I mean, yeah, I think that's certainly. I mean, he to me was that's the closest thing to Mike Vrabel, right? Like, you've got a proven commodity who's a winner, even more so because he's won a Super Bowl. There's a lot of talk about Lamar Jackson's the reason why he got fired. Who knows what the true story is? But how do you fire Harbaugh at Baltimore? That one I just didn't understand. But yeah, I agree with you. That's a great hire.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the championship games. We have not talked to you since they've ended, and looking towards the Super Bowl. Anything surprise you from those games?
No, I had Drake May at North Carolina, super young man, great athlete, and a guy that just had winner written all over him. So, I mean, I love that pick when they made it. I know his stat line wasn't great, but you watch that game, how many times on third down or fourth where they needed a big first down, he ran it and got him the first down, because on a day like that, weather-wise, as you well know, Shane, you're not going to throw for a bunch of yards. So really that's where his athleticism and his poise certainly helped out. I think that's a great story for him to get to the Super Bowl so early. But Sam Darnold, that's going to be the story of the Super Bowl. If Seattle does what I think they'll do, and I think they'll win it, here's Sam Darnold, a former top 5 pick. Again, where did he go? The Jets. Who wants to play quarterback for the Jets? Nobody. Bounces around. What is he on, his 4th team? And all of a sudden the light bulb went on. Like, not every quarterback, not every top 10 first round can't miss quarterback. You're not seeing necessarily the finished product in year 1, 2, 3, 4 of his NFL career. Some guys have a different learning curve. He has figured it out. And Shane, I mean, you watch him, he throws one of the prettiest balls in the NFL. He doesn't take unnecessary sacks. He doesn't throw the ball into double coverage and make silly turnovers and picks. He just seems like a guy that just about anybody would want playing quarterback right now. That combined with, it's like Legion of Boom Part 2. Their defense is nasty. They have 2 good running backs. Now it's Kenneth Walker instead of Charbonnet. And let's not forget Njigba.
Oh.
That dude, Shane, I always hear this, and I'd be curious of your thoughts, because I know you played with every type of wide receiver imaginable in college and in pro. So he is about 6 feet, 175 pounds. Mm-hmm. Nobody can cover him. One of the best route runners in the NFL, always open, makes huge plays. You could make the argument he's easily one of the best receivers in the NFL. This notion that you have, like the new wave is you got to be 6'4" and look like Metcalf and run a 4.3. If you can't get open, none of that matters.
Correct.
This dude gets open every single play. Love watching him go.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. He was blessed with a lot of ability, no question. But I've always believed in, and I don't remember who told me this, you want your receiving core to look like a starting basketball lineup, right? You got a couple of point guard
Right.
shifty type dudes, then you got the guys that are from a receiving core, you're gonna have some 5'9s to 5'10 ishes, have a couple 6 footers that can move around, and then you might want one or two of the 6'3, 6'4 type guys. But yeah, he's phenomenal, man. His body control, just his skill set. The guy was blessed, but that's the kind of guy you want as your main receiver. A big,
Yes.
tall, rangy guy at times, yes, but I think those kind of guys can do more for you with yards after the catch and just getting separation. Separation is a quarterback's best friend to make that throw easy.
Right.
Yes, no question.
Because as a quarterback, if the wide receiver separates, you don't need him to be 6'4" and jump 42 inches because you can throw the ball. I don't care if he's 5'10" or 6'5". If he's open, a Shane Matthews is going to throw it to him on target. So I just, when I watch the combine and I see guys looking for these tall, big receivers, I'm not saying they're not all good. But like, how tall is Justin Jefferson? He's not super tall.
No.
You look at some of the best wide receivers in the NFL right now, and they're around 6 feet. They're not 6'3". They're not 6'5". They're guys that are regular size that run very well. Not like 4.28 or 4.31, but they separate. And route running, it's kind of like quarterback. Accuracy trumps athleticism. Route running trumps athleticism when you're talking about being the wide receiver. And I mean, he was a top 10 pick, so obviously scouts, or maybe he was a first round pick. I don't know about top 10. So scouts knew he was good. But I just get a kick when people say, "Oh, I went the super freaky guy." Not all super freaky guys are elite wide receivers, even at the NFL level.
So true. And MSRK says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, referring to your Sam Darnold comments, the same for Baker Mayfield, got with the right program with offensive weapons around him.
Yeah.
You could tell those two guys, they were phenomenal college players, though. I mean, they could flat out throw the football. I mean, one won the Heisman. Sam Darnold won a bunch of games at Southern Cal. He just got stuck with some bad teams. But then you can watch guys and you can tell these guys have no chance of playing in the NFL. There's multiple of them, and they're still on rosters, but they won't last much longer.
Yeah.
Mike,
but I mean, doesn't he throw a pretty ball, Shane?
Oh,
I mean, when you watch Sam Darnold throw,
yes,
that's elite.
And it's a catchable ball. People don't realize you can have a really good arm, but you throw a catchable ball. Some guys have really good arms and throw these heavy balls that are hard as hell to catch.
That's right. Yeah. So
Mike,
true.
good stuff. Good stuff as always, buddy. Enjoy the call this weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, bud. Look forward to talking to you next week. Thank you, Shane.
Yep, that's Mike Morgan. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Go check them out at peachlanddental.com. Appreciate Mike Morgan and Brent Beaird for joining the program. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.